everybody, and thank you for joining me as I continue my team-by-team analysis of the 2022 World Cup. And today we are looking at a qualifier from the African section, in their 6th World Cup no less. It's Tunisia. You can catch my other team previews and analysis on the channel, and if you're feeling ever so kind as to drop a like or a subscribe, that would make you a World Cup legend. So let's begin and dive into Tunisia. We are of course talking Tunisia, which for those of you who are unaware is a country in the north of Africa. It's an interesting country with a lot of culture, something I can attest to personally, having visited the Tunisian island of Djerba a number of years ago. Tunisia features many deserts, including part of the Sahara Desert in the south, and if you're looking for a cultural food, then you'd find couscous as one of those. Matamata and other desert settlements in Tunisia actually have wonderful underground homes, which are built to avoid the intense heat and strong desert winds. You can see in the picture here that the homes are made by digging a large pit and are grouped around a central courtyard. They're connected to other courtyards with more rooms forming an underground labyrinth. But if you're looking for something unusual and different, it would be those World Cup winning odds. At 500 to 1, it's one of the largest in the tournament. Back to the football, and Tunisia will be competing this winter in their 6th World Cup in their history. In their previous 5 attempts, they have never managed to get out of the group stage and make the knockout rounds. In their 15 matches at the World Cup, they have secured only 2 victories. Once in the group of their first World Cup in 1978 against Mexico, and 4 years ago in Russia against Panama. Tunisia have won Africa's top international prize in their history though, winning the 2004 African Cup of Nations, defeating Morocco 2-1 in the final, adding an African Nations Championship victory in 2011 with an emphatic 3-0 win over Angola on finals night. Now this World Cup they will certainly be eyeing the Australia game as an opportunity to win a 3rd match in their World Cup history at the very least. On the 23rd of January 2022, during the match against Nigeria in the round of 16 at the 2021 African Cup of Nations, Jalel Kadri replaced the head coach Mondo Kabaya at the helm of the team due to his COVID-19 infection. The match ended with a victory for Tunisia 1-0, and on the 30th of January, after their eliminations against Burkina Faso in the quarter-finals, he was appointed permanent coach. He has managed an incredible 22 different teams, more or less exclusive to Tunisia, and has a wealth of experience and knowledge of Tunisian football. With 8 matches in charge so far, Kadri has won 5 and lost just 1, which to be fair was in a friendly against a very strong Brazilian side. Tunisia entered into the 2nd round of the African section of qualifying, seeing them in a group which contained Equatorial Guinea, Zambia and Mauritania. Ultimately, Tunisia finished in the top spot after being pushed all the way by Equatorial Guinea in 2nd place. They secured an ultimate World Cup playoff showdown against Mali. After a 1-0 victory away in Bamako, thanks to a Moussa Sissoko own goal, Tunisia held firm in the home leg with a stalemate 0-0 goalless draw to secure Tunisia's path to Qatar. In the games themselves, after a strong start in Group B of their qualifying section, Tunisia had acquired a maximum 9 points out of 9 in their first 3 games. However, a draw away at Mauritania, followed by their first defeat by Equatorial Guinea, put the Tunisians under pressure for the last game of the group, with Equatorial Guinea breathing down their necks. They did get the job done with a 3-1 victory, however, against Zambia, securing their way through to the playoffs. Overall, they scored 11 and conceded just 2 in 6 group matches. Top scorer Wabi Kazri will be hoping for success in Qatar, having found the net 3 times for his country in qualifying, with Elias Sakiri the only man to score more than once. Post-qualification, Tunisia have recorded wins against Chile and Japan in the Kirin Cup, an international friendly tournament which also included Ghana. Tunisia were ultimately successful in that tournament, a great morale booster ahead of this World Cup. Now, looking at how Tunisia might line up, I've had a bit of a go based on their recent matches played. Now, they've looked to adopt a 4-3-3 formation. The 2 most common goalkeepers in recent matches have been Ayman Darman or Bashir Ben Said. However, it's very likely that Darman will be the starting goalkeeper for the tournament. The 25-year-old has earned just 4 caps so far, but is slowly breaking through as one of the nation's best goalkeepers. In defence, 26-year-old right-back Mohamed Draguer is expected to be the main man, earning over 30 caps for his country and starting his side's previous friendly against Brazil. Elsewhere, Montassar Taibi and Dylan Bron are expected to start at centre-back. Taibi scored the only goal in the defeat last time out, whilst Bron was sent off, but his suspension shouldn't affect him starting in the opening group match of the tournament. Completing the defence at left-back is Ali Malel. Now, I hope I'm doing some of these pronunciation justice, and I apologise if I'm not quite getting these right. But if Tunisia stick with a three-man midfield, Fajani Sassi could be the first name on the team sheet in that particular position. He is someone that can score goals and create chances for his nation. Elsewhere, Aissa Leidouni and Elia Sukiri are most likely the players to fill the two available spaces. However, Manchester United youngster Hannibal Mejbri will certainly have something to say about that. Scoring goals will essentially be their best chance of Tunisia making history and qualifying for the knockout stages, as they're likely to struggle in defence against the teams they're up against. But it's something they're more capable of doing. Wabi Kazri is almost certain to start, and he will more likely fill out on the left-hand side of the front three. Tahar Yassin Khanissi was the last forward player to score for Tunisia, and he certainly will also be knocking on the door. While Saif Eddine Kou, Youssouf Masakni and Seferdine Jaziri are also likely to compete for that final spot in a packed front three. And we move to look at players to watch, and we start with one of the greatest Tunisian players in recent times. Last season was not the best of Kazri's career, as St Etienne dropped into the French second division. What I'm sharing with you here are the attributes from the player profile on the Football Manager game. The attributes that you see in bold relate to their preferred position and skills that are key to playing that role. It's just to add a layer of context to a player's abilities. Now, a move to Montpellier followed this year, raising hopes amongst the fans that the front man will be on fire come Qatar. With his long-range shooting skills, set-piece ability and gift for holding up the ball and being able to dribble past opponents, Kadri is the kind of forward that a coach would want to have in his team. He also does his fair share of defensive work, an essential facet of the modern forwards game. He's not the tallest of frontmen and can struggle to win balls in the air, and he does have a tendency to stray offside on occasion, though he does make up for it with everything else he brings to the table, not least his ability to create and score goals. Named his country's Player of the Year in 2018, Kadri boasts some of the most international experience within the squad, though he has missed more games than he's played lately due to injury and Kadri's willingness to try out other players in less important matches. Kadri will have a big part to play in the Tunisian attack in Qatar, and he can be relied upon to give the defenders plenty to think about. Now, looking at Dylan Braun, the centre half was at the heart of one of the transfer sagas of the summer in France, as Metz struggled in vain to hold on to him in the face of interest from domestic rivals Lorient and Nantes, as well as Italian outfit Salernitana. The Italians became his eventual destination, and Braun also hopes to make headlines at Qatar as the defensive general of the Tunisian team, anxious to bring some joy to their fans. Braun's been a key part of the Tunisian lineup since his debut in 2017. He's very comfortable on the ball and a tough opponent for people to get past, something that's happened to him only 0.4 times per match in Ligue 1 last season, though injury and COVID-19 have restricted his appearances in the last few months. He can be expected to have a big part to play in the defence in Qatar 2022. Capped 35 times by his country, he has plenty of experience under his belt, and he did make 2 appearances in the World Cup last time out, which we'll be hoping to add to this winter. Looking ahead to their matches, in Tunisia open their Group D campaign against Denmark, who again qualified strongly out of the European section. They had a fantastic run in the Euro 2020 tournament, which was played last summer, going all the way to the semi-finals before losing to England in extra time. Australia are up next on the horizon for Tunisia, and they sneak through the Asian Oceanic qualifying, beating Peru in an intercontinental playoff to book their place at the World Cup. It's a match likely vital to both teams, who will be needing 3 points to try and oust one of the group favourites. France is also an extremely difficult prospect, being not just the holders but one of the favourites again this time around. The two countries of course share a lot of cultural similarities. The expectations is that France and Denmark are the 2 clear group standouts, but an interesting group for Tunisia nonetheless. Now it's time for a bit of fun for me to take a punt and a prediction on who is going to qualify from this group. It's a very tough group again for Tunisia, with both France and Denmark looking very strong. The likelihood is that they will battle with Australia for 3rd place in the group, but we have seen stranger things at World Cups. This is in the winter, it's the middle of the season, we could well see a number of surprises. Tunisia will be hoping there will be one of these to reach the knockout stages for the first time. Although I do think what they will achieve is to leapfrog ahead of Australia in 3rd place and not finish bottom of the group. And with that, I thank you for taking the time to watch this episode of my World Cup preview. If you're interested in seeing the other teams from Group D and beyond, please check it out on the channel. But for now, take care, and I hope to catch you soon.